In a landmark move poised to reshape Ghana's educational landscape, the government has announced plans to integrate private senior high schools into the free senior high school program, starting from the 2026-2027 academic year. Now, this initiative aims to expand access to secondary education and alleviate congestion in oversubscribed public schools. Now, this integration may be a fulfillment of government's campaign promises, but to what extent does it fix the double track system and the general quality of the free senior high school program? That's our focus in today's edition of Hot Issues. I am Keminni, Director of the Ghana National Council of Private Schools. He'll tell us how ready they are. My next guest is Enoch Nanakwesi Jetua. Obefo, you're welcome to Hot Issues.
Thank you, my dear sister.
What does it mean for private schools to be a part of the free senior high school program from the council's point of view?
Thank you very much. Let me take this opportunity to say good afternoon to your cherished viewers, and also thanking you for bringing us to this honorable platform to share our views. We need to understand that the private education is a constitutionally mandated body in Ghana. The work that the private schools are doing in Ghana sits very well within the constitutional framework of Ghana. The emphasis is that Article 25, Clause 2 actually grants a provision for private individual to set up a school in Ghana. And the Constitution is emphatic that any person, being a legal person or a human person, can set up a school in Ghana. And so whenever education issues are being talked about, we, the private schools, we are considered as an integral part within the educational framework. So during the introduction of the free senior high school, or let's say even prior to the free senior high school, private schools were contributing at the pre-tertiary level, from the kindergarten to the senior high school, were contributing 42% within the enrollment ratio within the education space. So you can imagine the magnitude of burden that we take away from the government. So during the introduction, we made a call that looking at the support that we have given to education since in time immemorial, and some of the best practices that the government has even copied from the private schools in terms of even kindergarten education and all that, it's very important that we give us a role to play in the free SHS policy.
Right.
And we raise a concern that the deficits of infrastructures that we have, and we have not felt the heat, is the fact that we have about 352 private senior high schools complementing the effort of 710 public schools. Okay. And so if government takes us away from such kind of policy, the government is going to face infrastructure issues. And therefore, we need to have a conversation around the table and be included in the policy.
So, I mean, essentially, you predicted where the program is today. But how many of the private schools exist at this point?
As we speak now, we are talking about 172 well-established private senior high schools.
Which are able to take how many students?
The last time that we checked, the data that we have submitted to the ministry, it takes about 149,000 students. And so we can even imagine that if the total number of students that are going to be placed in this policy is about 500,000, we can take about almost 150,000 candidates in our schools in order to lessen the burden in terms of infrastructure issues and even end the double track issues in education.
No, but it's not like the private schools are empty right now. The private schools still have students. And you know, so, if we are going to be bringing those on the double track to you, do you have the space?
So the issue is that when we talk of space, we even have in abundance of the number that we have even disclosed. Okay. Because we even projected that if you take about 150,000 within this academic year, the subsequent year, if the 150,000 people are going to Form 2, do you still have any other SSS vacancies to be able to accommodate that? So the number I gave it to you is not the total vacancy that we have. It's out to the total vacancy that we can allocate.
The 149,000
yes,
is how much more room you have to offer the...
No, not necessarily.
Okay, so then help us understand. How much more room do you have to offer the free senior high school
at
program?
any point in time in educational endeavor, as of capacity, we look at within 4 years' time. If you are not building, how many capacity do you have as we speak now? And the policy that we are looking at it now, we are looking at the first entrance. And when we did the data analysis with all the 172 private senior high schools.
Right.
We realized that as we speak now, there are schools that are taking about 500. But we say, okay, we'll give you 200. Schools declare their vacancy that they have 1,000. Then we bring it down to, say, 450. So when you put the sizable numbers together, that is where you get about 150,000.
Right.
But when you accumulated all the total vacancies and then the space that we have, because even at the junior high schools, we control about 3.9 million children in our schools. And so you can imagine. And so if you accumulate all that, we are talking about 400,000 space, which even if we are not expanding our access within these 2 or 3 years, we can take about 2 streams in our schools. And that is why we were so worried that all these vacancies were there and it was just not being used. And we are, as a country, we are not incorporating some of these private schools into the framework so that they can come in to support the government as at that time. But we are very grateful, and we must admit that the John Mahama administration have done very well and marvelously well. The president has done very well because during the campaign season, he reached out to us that he wants to do that. And we said, okay, if you want to do that for us, we have all the framework, the policies and proposals are ready. We will give it to you for you to look at it. We were even thinking that it might be a political gimmick, but now it is in reality. We have met the Ministry of Education, I've met the GES director, the Free SHS, Secretariat, coordinator, and all of them, we have agreed on the basis that coming this year,
the new academic
year, that is 2025, 2026.
2026, 2027, or 2025?
2025, 2026.
Okay.
We are starting from September.
Okay.
Some are going to be in the private schools, but not all the private senior high schools. We are going to pilot it first.
Oh, okay. I see.
And then the subsequent years, we then integrate them fully into the scope.
How many schools will be piloted?
So by tomorrow, that decision will be made because we are about to meet the ministry again to finalize most of the issues. We've submitted some lists. We have to deep further to check whether or not those schools are really meeting the standards that we have set. And then we can declare the intention. By tomorrow, by this time, we will be able to come out with the numbers that are starting within this year.
I see. Let's look at this at a whole scale level because, know, based on what you said, you pilot this and then look at what teething problems come up before you expand it to the rest of the 150 plus schools, right?
Sure.
But looking at it on a whole scale level, how widespread across the country are these schools to enable students, wherever you are, however you fall on the divide, to be able to get a school to go to?
Okay, so you've mentioned one of the philosophies that underpins the establishment of private education in Ghana. If you look at where the government schools are doing very well, you wouldn't see private schools around. And so most of the times, private schools are filling the gaps at most areas where the government extension of education hasn't reached fully. Or the setting or the geographical area in itself does not even permit government to even have lands to even set up schools over there. Let me give you a typical example. When you go to East Legon, let's even agree that is where most of our affluent people are even living. Hardly you see public schools around. Go to Laboni. You get it. And what it means is that children who are school-going age are supposed to either move away from those area and go and join their colleagues somewhere. And so the private schools kick in. Then the underdeveloped areas, when you go to the remote areas, you will see private schools over there. And majority of the schools that we even consider them as public schools, one way or the other, started from private initiatives.
Right.
if you have checked it very well. Because even you are going with the religious aspect, Opokuwari, you see a religious background from it. Legon Presec, you see. And so majority of these senior high schools that we even pride ourselves as category A schools are private initiators that started some of these programs. But we understand collaboration. And so we are widely spread across the country. And I can give you statistics in some of the regions where even the private schools outnumber the public schools.
In certain areas?
I'm telling you, even when you come to the Greater Accra here, if you look at the pre-tertiary education as a block, private schools contribute 53% in terms of schools within the Greater Accra, region. And so you can imagine, if you go to Kasua, for instance, you can count the number of schools over there. So we are scattered at the doorsteps where the parents will not even spend much time to even find the schools. And this arrangement that we are doing, because of our widely spread in nature, we are going in as a day, students. Private schools.
Say that again.
So private schools within this arrangement is offering the government to reduce the burden by offering day education.
Right.
You understand? We have boarding facilities and all that.
But under this
program, we are rather taking day students.
Okay.
Because of the widely spread of our nature that are so, is closer to the individual, that we believe that we'll be able to even reduce the burden of the government purse if we are running the day education and run it very well.
I see. What are the standards you are looking out for before you say this school is good enough for the program? Okay.
And so before you set up a school in Ghana or even having the certification to operate as a school, there are well-established statutory grounds that you need to, comply with. If you look at our historical antecedent in terms of regulation regime in education, starting from the Constitution at 506, 1995, and then at 778, 2008. We have moved from the 2008 to have Education Regulatory Act at 77, at 1029, and then at 1049. And so we have NAS institutions like NASIA. So NASIA then come to your school, do compliance checklists, and mark up whether or not you meet the statutory demands of the school. And one of them has to do with even the sanitation issues of the school, the building itself of the school, and then the quality of teachers that you have, the kind of curriculum that you are implementing, and then your statutory compliance guidelines like the governing boards that you have in the school. And so before you will be able to, be part of this policy, you need to have a NASIA certification as one of the checklists. And we know that almost all the private schools have been licensed by the National Schools Inspectorate Authority.
Right.
And they have renewed as such. Then you need to also have your operational license at the district level, because the district sits with you. And then they look at the activities that you do. And so most of the times, if you are not in compliance, they can easily revoke the district operational license. And that one is also a conclusive thing that you need to have. The school itself shouldn't be looked at the persona that set up the school. But we are looking at the legal entity, the corporate body. And for that matter, it shouldn't be a sole proprietorship.
The private school shouldn't be a sole proprietorship to qualify to be part of this program.
Exactly. Okay. Because the sole proprietorship means that government is dealing with you as a person. And so in an event, a party is not there. It's the contract itself comes to an end. You understand?
Makes sense.
So the school, in our laws, the school is supposed to be a corporate entity. And it's distinct from those who set up the school.
Okay.
So that continuity and other sorts of, let's say, corporate governance structure should be there. So therefore, the office of the Register of Companies must have, incorporated that kind of school. So you need to also show your business incorporation or certificate. If you're able to prove these three documentation, then we look at how, since before the even coming closer to this policy, what is your history of running your school? Do you have, let's even check the way and manner your accounts, the way and manner your administration and other management issues are. The teachers that you have, these are some of the things that you need to submit. And then,
in order to be considered.
Exactly. And as you are submitting this, it constitutes an expression of interest to be part of this policy. So government will not just go in and, tie hands with institutions or bodies that are not properly grounded and they're not properly rooted into certain kind of philosophies that by the end of the day, the monies and the kind of relationship the government has established with you will not be accounted for.
I see. I get the point that due process will be followed, but also you'll be working closely with government so that you can find the right schools for this program. But if you are able to apply this criteria you have just outlined, how many of the 172 schools will actually be left for this program?
So one thing you need to understand is that all the schools that are in operation, as I'm talking to you now, are in compliance with these statutory, regulations.
Okay.
Because without that, it is a prerequisite condition that you need to certify before even whether you are joining this program or you are running your school in your own or whatever, you need to certify that. Right. And so running a school, there is already a criterion reference that we always refer to. And so you need to have your NACIA certificate
and all those things. So then all the 172 are members of the council?
Yes, please.
Are all private schools, senior high schools, expected to be members of your council?
So the council is a body that is set up to actually coordinate the activities of the government and that of the private schools.
Yes.
So it behooves on you because you cannot compel any institution. So it behooves on you to join. And those who have joined the council are those that we are streamlining their activities in such a way that proper maintenance and proper mechanisms of following into the LACTA, the government framework, so that you can benefit of some of these initiatives.
So you cannot be a part of the program without being a member of the council?
Well, as we speak now, we haven't brought that kind of conditionalities in yet. On the basis that you can approach the government because this is an expression of interest.
Right.
But it becomes so easier
if you're a member.
Because the government is rest assured that these people leading these organizations or institutions are those that are credible in their dealings, and they make sure that whatever they are doing it on the rightful path.
We'll talk about operationalization in a bit, but I know private schools work very closely with the parents who bring their children there.
Sure.
How are your PTAs responding to this new engagement with the government?
You see, most of the calls that we have even received before these new initiatives came from the parents' perspective. They were of the view that the free SHS expenditure or budget is being spent from the kind of taxes they also pay. And so, therefore, if there's other session of their parents are enjoying and they want their children also to be in the private school, why have they been denied of this? And so we work closely with them. And before this announcement was made, we worked with the National Council for PTAs during the forums of educational forums and all that to come out with a joint, proposal. So we are in a close relationship with them. And going forward, because you need to have a governing board within your school, the composition, a parent is supposed to be on that board, so that decisions that you are taking The parent can also bring in the perspective of a parent and make the whole decision a reflective one. And so we work closely with them. Though we understand that in every human institution, you will get some parents who comes in with different perspective and other parents also who comes in with the different challenges. But we believe that where we have gotten to, we are solving a problem that some of the parents have faced. Because when you bring your child to a private school, you have to pay. But now, if your child is in a private school, you are not supposed to pay if the school is running this free SHS policy. So parents are very happy and we are closely with them.
All right. So in totality, tell us again, how many students would you be able to absorb from the program?
Okay, so the data that we have submitted, which when I'm done, I will submit it to you, the proposal, is that we have over 149,000 capacity as at ready as we speak now.
Right.
But as we speak now, based on the policy direction, we are not going to start the entire 140,000 and over. As I said, tomorrow we will agree with the ministry and come out within that framework how many that will be able to start.
So let's segue into operationalization.
Okay.
How will this be operationalized?
Okay. So in the first place, the admission portal, or more or less the placement portal, will place students in the private senior high school, considering their locality, the programs that they are doing, and then the capacity of the school. And so as we speak now, the register that is going out, because of the decision came out very late, we won't see a private school name in the manual that the students are filling for their placement. You won't see it. But after they have submitted it, the government, together with the stakeholders, are going to ensure that the agreed number of schools that are going to start are going to be part of the portal. So those who are going to do self-placement will get some of the private schools to be there. So when a student is in your school, there is a budget that the government has already.
No, before we get into the budgets, let's talk about because before you get to where you are paying, you need to have the student.
Okay.
So how you explained, but I don't think I got it. How the students will now go to the private school.
So it will be based on the placement.
Right. So say I'm writing the BEC, right?
Yes.
And I have to choose schools.
Okay.
When I go into the portal to choose schools, I will have the option of a private school.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So the that's what I said, that the because of information, the manual that they are filling now, you wouldn't see the private school in it. But on the online, it is going to be integrated. Those schools that we are going to agree probably by tomorrow, going to be integrated. So students can still choose them. Okay. After you have chosen the school, the computerized selection placement or program will place you in wherever you have been qualified to be. You know, the placement, we have self-placement also. And so when the results come and your first choice or second choice, you didn't get it, you can still go to the portal, and those schools with vacancies, including the private schools and even the public schools, you can select them. So now they are in the schools now.
Right. So, but you know, private schools are very touchy and concerned about the quality they give children and the quality also that they are able to receive to work with.
Yeah.
Right. How are you going to ensure that you don't end up getting what the private schools the public schools decide they don't want?
And that is even the numbers that we want.
Oh, that's the numbers.
To even prove the point that, and that consistently, that we have what we have been doing. All the Second World War students, if I say Second World War, do you understand?
No.
So those that write the WASI and they didn't get it, and they do the NOVDEC.
The BEC.
Whether
WASI.
the BEC or the WASI, they do the NOVDEC or the private BEC. Ask yourself, where do they get their excellent marks from?
Private tutoring.
You see, so it doesn't really matter the foundation in totality what you have. It is about the supervision and the closeness of the work that you are doing. And I can tell you, the private schools coming into this program, there's going to be a great, tremendous successes that we are going to face. And so, yes, we are aware that government may want to put all the 8 ones and the 7 ones in some of the schools, but whatever
and the legacy schools too want those ones.
Whatever that numbers that we have, we believe that we can transform the child.
We can transform the child.
Yes, and we have done it in so many years.
That's reassuring to hear.
Yeah.
So now you have the student.
Exactly.
Let's talk about the rest of the operationalization in terms of budget.
So we have the student, and before the student coming to the school, we have agreed with the government the amount that the government is spending on that child. So more or less like a voucher system. So when you bring your voucher, on that voucher, it says that you have about 2 CDs or 3 CDs, and it constitutes this and that and that and that and that, such as food, uniform, textbooks, exercise books, and all those things. There are those that the government will supply directly to the schools. There are those that the government will allow for various schools, headmasters, to do the purchasing and bring the requisition for reimbursement. And so...
Wait, so private school prospectus will now be borne by the government?
Exactly. So once you are in that school, and you are under the cover of the free SHS policy, any other thing that you do within the school is covered by what? The government. And so you will be seeing some of the students also coming home with the tablet and things that the government is supplying to their counterparts in the public schools, because the policy extends to the child in that private school. And so therefore, government is going to take the costs of running the school that we have agreed upon. So if government says that every day feed them, and this is the budget that you are supposed to go by it, you are now going to spend within the budget. And then you are being audited based on the outcome you are being paid. That is all. It's like the health insurance, extension in the private hospitals, where by the end of the month, you work your claims, send it to Ghana Health Service, and you do your claims.
But then again, private school prospectus is not the same as public school prospectus.
Like how? They are the same.
I mean, there's a little bit more.
No.
The fee structure to start with. Private schools pay more.
So let me help you here.
Please do.
Because of expression of interest, and government cannot pay varied, school fees in terms of the numbers. Like school A, you are paying 1,000. School B is paying 5,000 and all that. That is why government says that this is the benchmark that I can pay for every student to be in your school who is a day student. You being the corporate body, you do expression of interest to accept such kind of offer. You understand? And then the prospectus issues, like when you are come along with this and that and that and that. Government says that uniform have taken care of it. Government says that textbooks have taken care of it. And so therefore, it doesn't warrant you to go and surcharge the child again.
Okay, let's break this down further.
Okay.
Private schools, despite the service they offer, are also profit-making businesses. Now, if I own a private school and I have to express interest in this, I'm going to cut down my profit. I'm going to have teachers to pay. Now, remember that in the public school, teachers' fees are taken over by government.
Sure.
And so are you telling the private schools to run at a loss because they want to help the country?
No, it's not like running at a loss. But even let me take the opportunity to really speak about the misconception that private schools are profiteering in nature. It is a misconception. The fact is that education in itself shouldn't be a market product that people should sell it. That is the foundation of education.
That's what it should be.
Yes.
But that's not what it is.
I'm coming. I'm coming. And so the work the private schools are doing are limited by guarantee in nature. Okay. They make profit and use the profit to expand the infrastructure aspect of the business. And so that is why when you see a school today, the school will be operationalized within, let's say, a classroom. Even sometimes people say garage and all those things. But the next subsequent years, you will see the school putting up another building as a school building. You understand? Do you know that you cannot even use a school building as a collateral or a guarantee for bank loan? Because it is seen as what? A property of the nation. You see? And so the work that we do, we collect the revenue and use it to expand. Yes, of course. There's nowhere you run a business, you may not be able to make some sort of gains. But that does not mean that where there's a need for us to shoulder the government to solve a critical component of education in Ghana, we will just be saying that we need money, and for that matter, we will not be able to help the government. And that is why it is an expression of interest. And I believe that wholeheartedly, the team that I lead, they are ready to support the government in this regard.
I mean, there's no denying
that
private schools are doing this also to
I'm
serve the country.
I'm coming to what the government is giving to us. Okay. If you look at what the government is spending, as we speak now, tentatively, because we are about to agree on the price component, so tentatively, it's around 1,005. The 1,005 with having about 800 students at a go, or 1,000 students at a go, is substantial amount of money that you'll be able to use it to run your school and do it very well and pay your teachers.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
1,500 cedis.
I'm telling you, the reason being is that the schools that are charging higher, the total population of the school might be around 100. You see?
Wait, so this 1,500 tentative figure is just for tuition, or it's for food, and it's for any other things that the students may need?
So we are looking at certain components, such as tuition, which is very there. Maintenance, which is in there. We are talking about one hot meal a day, because they are all day students. So one hot meal a day, which is there. In terms of uniform, in terms of textbooks, in terms of all those things, we are not going to spend from that amount. Government is going to supply us. So you should understand that. And so there are day-to-day administration of paper, stationaries, and other things that you might spend from some of these issues.
Okay.
The question that has come out very clear, which you hinted on, is the fact that government pays the same amount to the government school teachers, the government schools, and equally also pay the teacher's salary. So therefore, if it's going to be the case, how are you going to spend from this?
So what's the solution to that?
So the solution is that, there are a lot of government institutions that we can even partner for them to also come in to support. Every year, National Service Secretariat deploy or post qualified teachers to institutions that even there are no vacancies. So the arrangement we have done with the National Service Secretariat, which is even currently ongoing, is that they then come and augment the schools with their service personnel and ensure that those people are also there to support.
And where would the trained teachers go if you do that?
The trained teachers. They are also trained teachers.
No, but these private schools already have their teachers.
Yes.
Who they pay on at the end of
the month. We are going to employ more, because as we speak now, the numbers does not help us to employ those trained teachers.
I understand you will employ more.
Yeah.
I get it. How will you pay the teachers now?
The payment of the teachers, employer-employee relationship is grounded with the labor law. I don't know whether we understand. So before an employer employs someone as an employee, the framework of how they will be able to mutually agree and work stems from the labor law. And so, therefore, teachers are going to have their contract as when you are working in the government schools, GES have contract with you and pay you and do whatever you are supposed to do. We get to a point where government will start coming in to shoulder some of the teachers, or let's say put some of the teachers into the schools and support the system. Because we have some institutions, as we speak now, that they are even working, they are schools, but there is government schools that are, government teachers that are there. Mm-hmm. When you go to Atomic Energy Commission right now, the commission has an institution as a school. The teachers over there are government school teachers. But the school is being run as what? As a private. That they take school fees to do maintenance and all those things. So those framework is there. As we speak now, we don't know how many students are in this school and how many teachers are required to be in those schools. The moment we are able to set those things in place, the teachers that are in even backlog that the GES want to even assist them to work will be deployed for them to work, and then government comes in to support the payment. You understand? So
you see, when you say government comes in to support the payment, which means that primarily the burden of salary payment is on the corporate body, the private senior high school.
As we speak now, that is how it is. As we speak
now.
Yes.
Even after they have decided that we are interested in partnering with government to take on some of the students, they will still be in charge of paying their teachers.
Sure, that is.
Now, you also know that many of these private schools, if not all of them, tuition is much more than 1,500 cedis. That is how...
That is amount I said tentatively. So that cannot be used as a baseline.
No, but okay then.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Yeah.
During consultation, when you were doing the math with regards to who is going to take care of payment of salaries and how much each school should get, what did you agree on? Okay,
so when we consulted some of the private senior high schools, we received a bill. And the bill was around, some of them were charging 3,200 as at even boarding facility. And some of the day students they were charging 1,008, 1,009 averagely. And we believe that where we have reached, that kind of amount could be,
will be enough.
Exactly, because what government is going to give it to us could show that could even be more, a little more than whatever some of averagely the schools that the private schools were charging. So we don't really have much problem with the tuition or the kind of coupon that the government is giving to us. What will be the problem is that we have about 20 students in this school, and you are required to employ, and these 20 students, they are doing various subjects or courses. So you are required to employ personnel to handle all the various subjects.
Let's get into that after this break. Okay. We'll take a break and look at that and a few other issues to do with this arrangement that you hope to pilot in the upcoming term. You're watching Hot Issues. Don't go away. It's still hot issues here on TV3. I'm Keminni Amanor. In this edition, I'm sitting down with the Executive Director for the Private Schools Council here in this country. We are discussing the expansion of the free senior high school program to private schools to be piloted in the upcoming academic year. Obinfo, again, thank you so much for your patience.
Thank you.
But, you know, we're still on the subject of payment and school management and the likes, right? You made a point that the problem will be you get students who are doing different programs and this placement. Explain to us why that is the problem.
So the problem is that assuming a school has a capacity of absorbing 500 students, and based on the placement, the school receive, say, 100 students. Running 100 students in various courses is very, very cumbersome and intensive. And for that matter, employing teachers in all, like say, agric, now even they have made some of the courses and all those things. So that could be a problem. But so long as that school is able to have, let's say, 400, and employing teachers equivalent to be able to deliver that job, whatever amount of coupon that the government is giving is sufficient enough for us to be able to run our schools.
I see. So, I mean, is not a threshold, but perhaps that floor level amount of students that each private school could take? Because, mind you, you no longer, as a student, I can no longer walk into the private school and say that I want to be admitted. Yes. So talk to us about the dynamics around that.
So the schools have already declared their vacancies. And based on that, that has also been sent to the ministry. And so in the minds of the ministry, when they are doing the placement, some of these factors will be factored in the system in terms of the placement, so that it doesn't become 20 students in this school and you need to employ equivalent teachers to be able to teach such students. So the placement system, and that's why we are working closely with the Free SHS Secretariat and the Ministry of Education to ensure that the placement will not be done in a way that will affect the operationalization of the policy on the grounds, but it will be done in a way that the number of the schools, the students are being given to that particular school, matching the capacity of that school, and even the courses that they are supposed to offer to those children. And so it will happen that probably, sometimes you opt for going to this school, but when the placement comes, they change you. These are some of the discussions or some of the undertone decisions that the ministry take. If they are going by, the school will be like about 20 students have just picked that school. But when you look at the locality, the basic schools within that locality, and students who want to be in these students, it's very easier for them to be placed in those schools. Government will be able to
So the school placement will deal with
some of these
so
issues.
that the schools are properly
allocated and aligned based on the infrastructure they have, the courses that they are doing, and therefore they will be able to recruit teachers to be able to teach in that direction.
I see. And for situations where the school does not offer the program of choice, I mean, that is also dealt with, I suppose, with this arrangement.
Then if you are not offering that course, assuming you have declared your intention to be part of this program, but you are not doing science, government will not put science students in your school.
Right. I mean, mistakes happen. We've seen that in the past.
If it happens, there's a change of that will be a grounds for that child placement to be changed.
Would you agree with me that the arrangement as it is now, as you have explained to us, is not an attractive arrangement for private schools?
It's an attractive arrangement.
How so?
Because I have already said that we have consulted the private schools. Government in itself has also done stakeholder engagement. During the time that the government was doing the educational forum, these are critical decisions that we dealt with. And I believe government went around the entire country, even aside us, because it could be that we are telling our story in that way, to validate what we have informed them. And I mean, agreement has come to an end. And so the private schools owners are very happy. In every situation, and in the first instance, there might be some teething problems that might come out. But that should not discourage any of the private schools to say that they are not going to be part of this, initiative. There are juicy, interventions or sort of benevolence that they will be able to get from some of these interventions. And we believe that there are no qualms or challenges with that. Private schools are very, very happy. If anyone...
And you are saying this in the context that private schools charge termly, but when the public schools are going to be given money, it's on an annual basis. So...
Yeah, so we will look at, if you want us to go into how payments are going to be done. You know, this is PPP arrangement.
Yes.
Public-private partnership arrangement. We are going to sign contracts with the schools. If I say we, I mean the government is going to sign contract with the schools through our supervision and facilitation. And that contract in itself is an instrument to engage your banks to able to give you some sort of bank guarantee to run your school. You understand? Provided that bank is used to as a receiving end to receive the payment from what? The government. So banks already are working with the private schools.
Right. So you're hoping that your arrangement with government to make it easier for loans to be guaranteed to run the school, and then you get the money from government.
Exactly.
I have a ton of questions on the back.
You can.
But first clarify for us, because you mentioned 1,500 cedis earlier per child as a tentative figure. Now, is this an annual figure or it's termly payment?
It's termly
for every term.
It's termly.
I see. Okay, that answers the question.
Yeah.
But also on the back of getting the guarantee, taking the loan, operationalizing your business, and then waiting on the government to pay. What assurances have you had from the government, given the backdrop and history of the free senior high school challenges that we have seen, that you get the money on time and you continue to be in the good books of these banks?
You see, the free senior high school challenges, the critical or the central point of the challenge has to do with infrastructure. It is not about the fact that monies are not there to cater for the free SHS policy. We, the industry players, can tell you that the challenge associated with free senior high school is infrastructure.
I can't agree, because
you may
that when
disagree.
the government came in, when the new government came in, they had to re-engineer financing for the free senior high school.
I'm coming.
I don't expect there to be financing challenges.
I am coming.
I guess what I'm asking you is whether or not you have the assurances that you will get this money on time, and then you'll be able to run your businesses efficiently, so that you can educate these children.
You see, that is why it's very important that I said that it's very important at this point, government should partner private schools. It gives the government the opportunity to relax in terms of payment. Not to say that government is not going to pay. The problem has always been that the timing of payment is delaying. But no one is saying the government has not paid us. We already have our banks that we work with as private schools. Or whatever our banks are waiting for is guaranteeing or contract to say that government is expected to give these schools this so and so amount of money on this period of this time, within basically within academic year. And therefore, our banks will be ready to shoulder the financial obligations with us. So therefore, we can feed the children on time. That's what I'm saying, that private schools are coming in. Government schools, you don't have the right to even talk to a bank. If you don't even have the full stars and other things in place.
I agree.
You need to wait for the central government to disburse the money. But we, as private schools, we are not working directly with the central government in this regard. Government is saying that this amount of money that is going to pay within a space of time. We have our banks that are seeing it as a business also for them. And we sign an agreement with our banks. They come in to support us financially.
Will this arrangement include your members who are high fee paying institutions?
So it's open to all private senior high schools. So therefore, if you are charging even dollars, or you are charging in cedis, or you are charging in any currency, we are saying that this is the framework. Come and express your interest to be part of it. Once you express your interest to be part of it, it's presumed that you accept the terms and conditions within that arrangement. And so high-earning schools and all those things, they are even the people pushing for government to support the government in this regard.
And I wonder how you think 1,500 cedis.
Oh, you keep on mentioning 1,500.
But thank you for coming.
But thank you very much also for giving us the opportunity.
We have to go at this time.
That's
I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Obinfo Nanakwesi Jechia is Executive Director for the Ghana National Private School Council. And we've been talking about the new arrangement, the public-private partnership between the government and private schools in the country to make, free senior high school implementation easier on all of us. If you missed this, there's a playback on YouTube and all social media handles. I'm Keminni Amanor, and this is Hot Issues. Bye-bye.